Jackson County Commission meeting is called to order. I'd like to welcome everybody to tonight's meeting. We have a number of items in the new business section and some areas that we will discuss in our work session. At this time, I'd like Mr. Manning, our county administrator, to please call the roll to establish a quorum.
Mr. Rich, present. Mr. Venable, present. Mr. Buckner, present. Mr. McBride.
We do have a quorum. At this time, I'd like everyone to stand. I'll ask Deputy Sheriff Rocky Hunter to offer our invocation, and I will lead our way.
Let us pray. Father God, we humbly bow before you to ask that thank you so much for the many blessings you give us each and every day. Father, we thank you for the beauty of this area. We thank you for the beauty of each day, the changing of the seasons. Father, we thank you for the privilege of serving you in this county and the citizens of this county. Father, now we ask that you be with each and every member of this commission as they make decisions that will affect each and every one of the citizens of Jackson County. We ask these things in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In your packet, you have your agenda for tonight's meeting. One note that I would make is that we will go into the executive session to discuss amendments to job description for the chief appraiser and pay increase, or chief appraiser and step increase. So we'll hold that to the end of the session to do that. So with that, do I have a motion to approve the agenda for our November 22nd, 2021 meeting with the annotated adjustment to the agenda?
I'll make that motion with those adjustments.
No, second. We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. The agenda is approved. Any awards and presentations? No awards or presentations. Public comment. Ms. Judith Jones would like to say a few words. And the topic?
Road surfacing.
Road surfacing, yes, ma'am. We do have a podium that you can use. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions just so that we have for the record.
Okay.
And so I know I already mentioned your name, but for the record, I will ask if you would please state your name.
Judith Womack Jones.
Okay, Ms. Jones, thank you. And your topic of discussion?
Road surfacing for the Butts Pocket State Park area,
Okay.
County Road 173, and the approach on the approach to McKinney Bridge. I can't remember the number of the road. Goes to 5.
And are you speaking on your behalf or for someone?
I'm speaking on my behalf. Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. And ma'am, you have 5 minutes.
Okay. It's going to be a lot shorter than that, I think, I hope. I'm really more concerned about Butts Pocket State Park. I've already approached the DeKalb County side about getting that side of the road done. The park has gotten funds. They've improved it, the campground. They put a lot of money into it, made an ORV trail, and I'm sure you're all aware of this. I'm just repeating it. And it is improving our area a great deal, but the approach to that area from the road through there is terrible. And I just want to get it on the agenda or on the roadworks schedule, try to get that road fixed, because we have RVs coming in there. They're hauling ORVs on trailers behind them. I mean the big RVs. And they're already having to deal with misdirection on the Langston Gap Road coming down to the resorts down in Langston area, those new campgrounds down there. And that's already an issue. I know y'all are working on that, but the Butts Pocket Road is terrible. It's worse on the DeKalb County side, as I said. That side's even dangerous, I would say. This side, on our side, is approaching that because there's been so many repairs on it, but I don't think you can do anything to resurface it at this point. I'd like them to consider resurfacing that. Another approach side that's gotten really rough is at McKinney Bridge on the approach to Pike, on the road going into DeKalb County going to Pike. And that was really my biggest thing. We do have businesses that depend on the park. We have a new ORV business up there on our side of the county. We have the gas station, we have some grocery stores, and all of them benefit from this park. And also it looks bad on our tourism, you know, that, with the road to it, the park is looking great. When the road going through there looks so bad, and it is a little dangerous if you're in an RV. So I would like y'all to consider that and put that under discussion at some point.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Any questions?
No, I thank you. You brought some good points to our attention as far as looking at the overall road structures and the tie to tourism and economic development. So thank you.
Yes, sir. I'm very impressed with how Jackson County's coming along. And Mr. Butler, I want to also thank him for answering my phone calls about Langston Gap Road over the last 3 years. And he has always answered my phone call and talked to me about that. And so I just want to thank you again.
You'll probably hear a report on that here in a little bit, so I don't know.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, Ms. Jones, thank you very much. And again, thanks for bringing that to our attention. With that, now we'll move into our new business portion of the agenda. We have several items, as I said, on the agenda. Several related to recommendations on hiring. And first, we have a motion to approve the hiring a temporary employee in the mapping and appraisal office in your packet. You have a letter from our Revenue Commission regarding that request for approval. Do I have a motion to approve hiring a temporary employee in the mapping and appraisal office? I'll make that motion. Do we have a motion, a second?
I'll second that.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye. Motion carries. Next, we have a motion to approve the promotion of Engineering Assistant 1 to Engineering Assistant 2 at Public Works. If you will see the letter in your packet from our county engineer. Individuals have met the requirements to move to the EAA2 position. They have completed and passed the AC1 concrete certification and the road tech certification. With that, do I have a motion to approve the promotion of Engineer Assistant 1 to Engineer Assistant 2 at Public Works?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion, a second.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next, we have a motion to approve the hiring committee's recommendation for the lead mechanic at Public Works. Letter is in your packet from the county engineer. It is a recommendation to fill the vacant lead mechanic position at Public Works Department. There was only one applicant, and so after review, that individual is selected. So do I have a motion to approve the hiring committee's recommendation for lead mechanic at Public Works?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. The second?
I'll second.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next in the packet of new business is a motion to approve the hiring committee's recommendation for maintenance supervisor at Public Works. And that is a result of interviews that were conducted on November the 18th, 2021. And we have a letter from the county engineer recommending this committee's selection. Do I have a motion to approve the hiring committee's recommendation for the maintenance supervisor at Public Works?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion, a second.
I'll second.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. At our last commission meeting, the county engineer presented a list in two areas. One was our striping list for 2021, 2022. That list is in your packet. If there are any questions or comments at this time? With that, let me ask if they have a motion to approve Public Works 2021, 2022 road striping list.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion, a second.
I'll second that.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have two board areas to consider tonight, one with DHR and one with our E911 board. In your packet, you have the letters from applicants for consideration. First is with DHR. We have had announced publicly the opportunities for individuals across the county to apply for these positions. We held that application period open, and at close for the DHR appointment, we only had one individual that applied for consideration. That was Dr. Linda Rogers. And Dr. Rogers has submitted her request for application. And she has served a previous term with DHR, and believes that she has the experience in community involvement. And she is a resident of Scottsboro and a business owner, and she's the owner of Scottsboro Professional Counseling. We do have a letter from Shannon, the director of DHR, regarding the open position. This is to fill an unexpired term. With that, do I have a nomination for the opening of the unexpired term position at DHR?
I make a motion we accept or I recommend that we accept Dr. Linda Rogers toward our DHR board.
So do you nominate?
I'm sorry, yes,
Dr. Linda
I'm
Rogers?
nominating, that was the word that was tripping me up there, yes,
Okay.
sir. I want to nominate Dr. Linda Rogers.
So with that, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a second nomination regarding Dr. Linda Rogers. So with that, do I have a motion to appoint Dr. Linda Rogers to fulfill the unexpired term on the Jackson County Department of Human Resource Board? Have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
A second?
I'll second the motion.
And all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. So Dr. Linda Rogers will be appointed to fill the unexpired term at DHR. Also in your packet, we have applicants for the unexpired term of on our E911 board. We had 5 applicants, Mr. Brian Putman, Mr. Brandon Phillips, Mr. Blake Johnson, Mr. Ray Solomon, and Mr. Eddie T. You do have letters in your packets from the applicants stating their qualifications. At this time, I'd like to open the floor for nominations regarding our position at the E911.
And just to be clear, we've got one opening.
We have one position open, just to fill an unexpired term.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Ryan Putman.
Okay, we have a nomination for Mr. Ryan Putman. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second. So my voice vote, Mr. Rich, District 1,
Yes.
Mr. Venable, District 2,
Yes.
Mr. Butner, District 3.
I have no problem with Mr. Putnam, so, yes.
Is that a yes? Okay, with that, Mr. Putman has received unanimous nomination and consideration and vote to fill the unexpired term of our E911 board. So he will be appointed to accept that position.
Do you remember how long this position went into the expiration date?
I must say I do not. I do not.
And I do want to say for the record, this is a very impressive list of folks who want to serve on this.
Yeah, I would encourage anybody to put in for it, to put in again.
Yeah.
That was some really good, mercy folks. But,
I know you pushed for quality applicants, and I think we're getting there.
The individuals I know, I would agree with both of them in that regard. By the way, the term for Dr. Rogers will be to the end of January 2025. Do have that one. Okay. Next on the agenda We have a motion to approve a line of credit at First Southern State Bank. You have in your folders the information on the line of credit. The line of credit is for $400,000. This is something that the commission does every year to establish a line of credit in the event that a line of credit is needed. At this time, we have no unpaid obligations. Our balance is $0, as what this does open up, and it opens up through the period of this time next year. Let's see, excuse me, through November 2022. So with that, do I have a motion to approve the line of credit at First Southern State Bank?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion, a second?
I do have a question, so when do you want me to ask my question?
You can
Before we
ask your
vote.
question.
Before we vote, yeah, well, yes. So I have no problem with the line of credit. I see the reason for it. Is this something that we take bids on, or is this just a rollover thing?
Just rotating, they can't do it here since I've been here.
Okay, all right.
We never used it, but we just.
Right, and I noticed that there's an interest rate there, so I was just thinking in terms of competition, if somebody, so, all right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll second that nomination.
Okay, we do have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next on the agenda is we do have a request for a pay increase for contract personnel property appraiser. I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Jeff Arnold.
We have a contract with Andy Engelwright. You know, he retired from the state, and we hired him as our personal property appraiser, which saved us tons of money because we don't have to pay him insurance and retirement and all that stuff. And in the contract, it states that if that maximum amount allowed changes, that we may increase it by whatever the amount is. So I think that we've asked the question to Mr. Porter, and I'm not sure if we got a clear answer on that or not, but I think he said that we would need to amend the contract. I'm not an attorney. Ms. Claire's here today. She is an attorney, but the way I read that contract, it doesn't seem like that to me. It says we may increase it if it increases. So y'all know the amount that a retired employee can make is $32,000, I think, and it went to $34,000, and that's what I'm asking to increase that to. Of course, it's out of the state reappraisal budget, so it's prorated. You're talking about 15% of $2,000 is what's going to cost the commission.
So the contract, this is the contract that we have in the package.
Yes, sir.
And paragraph 5 states the employee shall be entitled to receive compensation at a rate of $32,000 annually, which may be increased by an amount equal to an increase in the maximum annual income allowed to retired employees by the retirement system of Alabama. So and that's what we're talking about.
Yes,
To increase to that level for
To
this
the
year.
maximum amount allowed, that's right.
Do we know what that number is?
34.
34?
So since that's in the contract, is that something we need to change, or we?
If it's one of the things, if it's just being increased to the maximum allowable, then I would say no. If it were being increased to more than that, I think there'd be an amendment required, but I think no, since it is just being increased to that maximum annual income allowed.
If I might add, he couldn't make any more than that anyway.
Right.
I mean, not when he retired with the state, that's all.
No, but what I'm asking is, I mean, this is not an updated contract, this is the contract we were already,
The current contract,
yeah.
correct?
So I mean, it already allows for what you're asking to do.
That's right, I believe so, I believe that's where it reads.
Okay. I mean, I read it the same way, I don't know unless we've been advised another way.
Okay. So with that, any other questions or comments? So for clarification, do we have to vote on this or as next meeting?
I would say just for the sake of there being an increase, you should vote on the increase, but the contract does not need to be
Right.
amended.
Right, so it's just a vote on the increase.
Correct.
So I would propose that we take a look at this and put it on our new business agenda for our next meeting. Okay. Next up, Public Works. I'd like to turn it over to our county engineer, local road resurfacing selection. I don't know that there are any comments, it's just that it was presented in our last commission meeting and work session, so I just wanted to put it back on the agenda in case there were any questions regarding this list. One area that I would like to just look at is, like to have a discussion particularly on whether or not there's going to be any need or impact to the general fund funding as we look at what is presented here. So that's a subsequent discussion. I'd just like to sit down with you and go over the funding process for this and funds available.
Okay, thank you,
Any other
Chairman.
questions or comments? Okay, with that, I would think that I can get those questions answered and put this on the business for our next meeting as comments regarding that. Go ahead.
How much time, we can consider this all the way in probably till January or so.
We can, yeah, there were questions, and I think there was interest in, seeing local road selection, so we wanted to put that together and put it in front of you. As we mentioned before, we're halfway through the last selection, so we have plenty to do, but it does help us to know which direction we're headed. So there's no urgency here, and as with many items, we want there to be comfort in our selections. And this is a lot of information, financially and selection-wise. So in the photos you have, which we have more most likely than you're seeing, and we can provide more. But this is robust, what we've put in front of you. And as we mentioned before, the reason that is this is an annual benchmark that for the amount of assets that we have out there in local roads, this makes the system work. Now, this is very expensive. It's a lot of roads, and it's still scratching the surface of need, as you see in your photos. But we put 50 some odd miles in front of you because that's what we feel like we would have to get to have a successful program.
Last year, we chose to do, what was it, 26 miles?
22.
22 miles.
And then we had some add-ins, so we are about 26 in actuality.
This is over double what we done last year, and it took a significant amount of money from the county's general fund in order to make that happen, and that's halfway complete. So that money's still obligated, so we really need to look at our bottom line of the general fund and see what our cash balance is and weigh that against what we can and can't do. 50 miles a year plus our hot mix roads, and like I said, we're getting pretty close to being able to get out of regression, but I don't know if we've got the revenue to do that.
It's a lot of money.
I want time to really study that.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, and that's what I'm asking as well, the time for us to sit down and talk through this. Plus, you got the other activity that you got,
That's right.
whether it's Rebuild Alabama or other activity. So one of my questions will be, do we have the time to do this? Can we get to all of it?
We have plenty of time.
Yeah, and Mr. Carroll, one of the things to this is as ambitious as we can be. I mean, I want us, and I know you do, but I want us to look at 5, 10, 15 years as far as how that would look and what rolling the roads in, and so just in case something comes down from Washington or Montgomery where we're not scrambling for what project we can do to match, so that we are ready for things of that nature, and of course, we can have directions and conversation with folks as you and I often have. Hey, when is this gonna happen? And if we know it's on the list, it's just not as present as others, that's something that we can communicate with a little more clarity as we're dealing with this, and hopefully keeping a lot of the repetition off of you as far as understanding where we're gonna be long-term. And so, you know, that's just my personal desire to know what it would look like if money's not an object, plus what it needs to look like to get things done in a long-term fashion.
Very similar to the reason I wanted to wait is, you know, this infrastructure bill comes down from Washington.
Right.
And we spend $300,000 or $400,000 supplementing public works, and we might have could took that $300,000 or $400,000 and done a larger scope of work.
Right.
And if we don't have the money to match it, then we wouldn't be able to capture those dollars.
Right.
Okay, thanks very much. I'm
Thank
sure
you.
we'll talk roads more. Next, in the commission packet, we have received the state's approval for holidays for 2022. That is New Year's Day to the end of 2022. You have that list of holidays in front of you. So we are proposing this year that we accept the state's approved holidays for the year 2022. This is here for your consideration. We'll put it on the work schedule for next year. For next meeting, the new business. And so if that's okay with everyone to move that to new business next meeting. Okay, we'll do that. Next, we had a question that came up. In our last commission meeting, we voted to approve the 24th of November, the day before Thanksgiving, as a county holiday. Given that our employees have, through the last couple of years, dealing with the pandemic, have worked through a lot of issue in terms of the work that they've all done to keep our county open and operating and to take care of the people of our county. This year, we approved the holiday so that folks who had to travel could have a travel day prior to Thanksgiving Day. In doing that, a number of our employees that have worked through the period of the pandemic and not been able to take leave time. We're planning to take some 8 hours on the day before Thanksgiving. So we've been asked to consider that employees over 600 hours annual count be able to roll the 8 hours into the calendar year 2022 due to the added holiday for Thanksgiving. In considering this, if we were to do that, I think we put a sunset on this of a couple of months to get that done so that we're not continuing to build hours beyond that. So, any comment or questions? Okay, we'll put this on the agenda for new business at our next meeting. Also in your packet, you have, we discussed at previous meetings, establishing a new county park at High Top as an extension to our Jackson County county park system. Having purchased the property to do that, we are wanting to establish a committee to look at that and bring back some design options for the park. In your packet, you have a proposed letter appointing the committee. The purpose would be to review and develop an effective design concept for a county park at High Top as an extension of the Jackson County Park System. And the task would be to provide the design options and recommendations to the Jackson County Commission. We would want to look at the facilities and features that would be included in a park at High Top, as well as the infrastructure requirements to accommodate our park visitors. Other things to look at would be look at beneficial partnerships with federal, state, county, city, and/or private agencies and entities, and to identify any required permits as we develop our park. We would also want to look at, given the design options, potential costs, and make sure that we look at any positive or negative implications to either the citizens of the county or the Jackson County Park System or surrounding municipalities. In discussions with Commissioner Venable, proposed a committee comprised of myself, with Commissioner Venable as the chair of the committee, the mayor of the city of High Top or his designee, director of the Jackson County Park and Recreation, Mr. David Coggins, and a member of the Mountain Lakes Chamber of Commerce. Particularly, they're in the process of hiring a new tourism director, but in the meantime, Ms. Lydia Pennington is working in that area. So it include her in that. So propose this letter appointing the committee with these tasks. Any questions or comments?
I'd just like to say, I appreciate the commission's support on this and voting to purchase the property, and I would like to get started putting a master plan together for that piece of property as soon as possible due to, grant availability and opportunities. We want to put a master plan together and not have a hodgepodge of things up there. We want to make sure it flows well, works well. And I'd like to move forward with this and meet with the committee as soon as possible.
One note, in discussions with Tarcon, who would help us consider any grant applications, they have stated that we need to have a design concept for the park before they could apply for a number of the grant opportunities that we may have available.
It is mentioned that if we ask for a grant for phase 1, if we've got phase 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, and 5 out in front of it, we're more likely to get that grant because it's something that can be built on in the future.
So, Chairman, is this something that we need to go back into session and approve this, or is this something that can wait to the next meeting?
I would propose that we have a motion to set aside the rules. But first, before we do that, we need to consider any changes to what we have here in terms of task and membership.
I think you laid it out well.
Okay, with that, do I have a motion to set aside the rules so that we can vote on the motion to establish a committee on the design concept for the Jackson County Park at High Top?
Yeah, I want to make that motion that we set aside the rules so that we can set this committee up and get rolling with it.
So we have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Do I have a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. So at this time, do I have a motion to establish a committee to determine design concepts for the Jackson County Park at High Top?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. Second?
I'll second.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next in your packet, we had, as you know, Mr. Johnson came before the commission at our last meeting in our work session to explain to us what they were doing with establishing the Danny Kendall Johnson Foundation. In that, he discussed the loss of his son due to a tragic accident and the objectives and of the Danny Kendall Jackson Foundation. And it is their goal to have an impact on the community by being involved in legislation and providing support to other families that find themselves in similar situations, and also provide the public with current information as it pertains to legislative laws in regards to the impairment of individuals driving while asleep, drunk, or with other impairments. Mr. Johnson asked if the Jackson County Commission would approve a resolution, and that resolution discusses the Danny Kendall Jackson Foundation, but asks that the county commission in approving a resolution would pause in its deliberation at the point of vote with Ms. Sorrow to mourn the untimely and tragic death of Danny Kendall Jackson. The draft resolution is before you in the packet. I would propose that we review this and we can take this up for a vote at our next meeting. Any comments or questions?
No, I definitely think this is something we need to put on the next meeting agenda.
Okay, and so with that, we will move it to new business at our next meeting. Next in our packet is some information regarding Water Authority. We have been working with the Jackson County Water Authority to provide for some needed water capability and the Wonville area. We have discussed previously several things regarding the Jackson County Commission's understanding of and knowledge of water authorities and the status of their budgeting, the status of their water service to the citizens of their service area. And so with that, we have requested potential amendment to legislation that will provide, and you will see in your packet, the draft legislation. The underlined portions on page 3 and 4 would be those areas that we would request that the Jackson County Commission have information regarding these water authorities. This legislation is specific to the Jackson County Water Authority and no others, as each water authority is set up by its own legislation. So in this draft of legislation, it would provide for reporting of the water authority to the Jackson County Commission, the financial statements on the revenues and expenditures of the board and the balance sheet at the end of the period of report, the status of water projects and service area of in the service area, the location of gaps in water service in the service areas of the authority and the specific plans to provide water service in these areas, and a report on the status of the quality, reliability, and adequacy of water infrastructure within the service area, and the needs for any maintenance, repairs, upgrades, or new infrastructure. Also, it specifies that since the water authorities, or particularly the Jackson County Water Authority, is partially funded by public funds, that they would be certainly subject to the Alabama Open Meetings Act, and that their meetings would be open to the citizens of the county. Another consideration is that members of the Water Authority will have to reside in the Water Authority area of service, and that and so that is pretty much a summary of the bill as it is drafted. Also in the packet is a draft resolution that basically states those conditions, and that it would be resolved that the Jackson County Commission would recommend to and request the Jackson County Legislative Delegation to submit to the Alabama legislature in the next regular session an amendment to section 4536.252.03 of the Code of Alabama 1975 that would provide for further an amendment to the code to provide for further that reports will be provided by the authority to the Jackson County Commission on a regular basis, describing the ongoing operation of the board, and granting the commission specific authority to replace board members under certain conditions. So these are there for your consideration and review. Any recommended adjustment or amendment to those, to the draft legislation and the draft resolution?
The question
Any
I have
questions?
is, the question I have is, you alluded to, we have multiple water authorities. Is this action just for the Jackson County Water Authority, or all of them going to come into this?
It is just for the Jackson County Water Authority because each water authority is set up by its own local law and legislation. So each one would have to be dealt with separately.
I don't know that it wouldn't be good to do all boards that we appoint. I mean, not all water boards, but, you know, we're appointing 911 board, the DHR board. But it would be so cumbersome of a bill to try to include language that would cover everybody. I think, Mr. Chairman and I had this conversation. I think that's why they done just for one, and maybe we can start doing one at a time and focus on the structure of each one.
Yeah, I mean, I see I'm just curious, is the intent just to bring the Jackson County Water Authority to the standard, or is the intent to bring all of them at some point in time?
The intent of this resolution and this proposed legislation would be to bring the Jackson County Water Authority to what we would want to see. But I agree, over time, I think we ought to consider the individual recommendations to amend the legislation to bring them all to this standard.
The second thing is the last step in there, granting the commission specific authority to replace board members under certain conditions. And I know we're not want to enumerate that at this point, but is that going to be our authority over this board? Is that
it would be the authority of the appointing official, and it's, in most water board cases, the commission has certain number of members it can appoint versus other, whether it's a delegation or others that also have appointing authority.
so? My question is, if they fail to comply or they're not in compliance, then there's a procedure for that. I mean, or we.
It does spell out in the draft legislation conditions by which individuals can be.
So removing the board members is
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so what I would propose is let's review the proposed legislation and the proposed resolution. If you have any comments or amendments or adjustments to it, please provide, and we will coordinate those and bring the resolution and the proposed legislation back for consideration. Okay, with that, we have one other item, but we will move to executive session for that. But before we do, let's proceed with reports from the staff. First, the county administrator.
Nothing,
Mr. Manning.
Okay, thank you.
Our county engineer.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Okay. County attorney.
I don't have
Office.
anything at this time.
Okay. Any others?
I got a couple of quick things.
Okay.
I'll be brief, and Mr. Campbell said happy Thanksgiving. Real brief, a couple of things. One, our cleaning contract that we discussed, we're very close, I think, to getting an agreement on that, so hopefully by the next meeting I'll have some details worked out. Got one or two small things to finalize that. Second thing, we have been approached by a gentleman who is trying to organize an event with the mountain movers from the Chamber of Commerce. Wants to have a Winterfest event and wants to use the park. He is still working on details and whether it can happen or not, but he wants to have that potentially January the 15th. Obviously, outdoor events in January can be iffy. So we'll see, but he hopes to have some sort of an ice rink and some live music and some vendors and food vendors and craft vendors. So we'll see. We told him that, if he can, make it all work, park will be available, that, we would need to charge a fee of, up to $500 to cover our labor and overtime and all those things. So, I'll update you later, as things move along, but he's in the organizing stage on that at this point. Commissioner McBride's not here. He and I had a discussion, last week about, a couple of lighting issues at some boat ramps, specifically BB Comer and the Langston Road down by the treatment plant. I'm meeting, Wednesday with, somebody from Sand Mountain Electric. Those are both Sand Mountain Electric, service areas. There actually is one light at BB Comer now. It, apparently has not been working. That is provided by Sand Mountain Electric for the community, so nobody pays for it. They're hopefully working on getting that repaired. May already be repaired. I haven't seen yet. But I'm meeting with them to see about getting at least one more light added there. And then Langston Road is a bigger question mark there because there's no power on that side of the road. So any street lights to be added there, power would have to be run across the road, and poles added throughout the parking area. So that's going to be a challenge. So I'll hopefully know more after talking to them, meeting with them Wednesday morning on that. Keep you updated on that later. The High Top Committee, thanks for including me on that. Look forward to working on that. Chairman Nance and I talked a little bit earlier today. I think there was potentially going to be a meeting tomorrow. I believe it's at 4 o'clock, and unfortunately, I probably won't be able to make it to that. I have to be, not one of my employees and I are going to be in Prattville tomorrow for a propane certification class. So pretty slim odds that I'll be able to make it back here by 4 o'clock, but if I can, I will. Thank y'all.
Okay. Anyone else? Comment? Okay, with that, let's move to comments from our commissioners. First, District 3, Commissioner Butler.
Yeah, exciting week. Proud of the High Country Toyota groundbreaking. That's a great progressive sign for the updating and development there that's on US 72. And also, we had a fisherman's camp open up in Mink Creek. I was excited about that because it was outside investors that are coming in and seeing the possibilities that we have here, and I think that's just a great sign for the future. I want to strongly encourage everybody to shop local. If any time is more critical, we need to support our local businesses. So please do. If you're going on vacation, let's do it at beautiful places like Buck's Pocket and up at Russell Cave and see the wonderful things we have here. But go to our restaurants, and as you buy gifts for folks, try to buy local if possible. Gift certificates for haircuts and all that kind of stuff. Just support our local businesses. They've been loyal to stay with us, and they've stayed open, and we need to do what we can to support them. And so just strongly encourage that, and happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Okay, next, Commissioner Venable, District 2.
Just want to say that, when you give thanks later this week, just be thankful that we live in the greatest nation ever. And we're going through a lot of stuff as a country, but we're very blessed and very fortunate to have the things we have, and the freedoms we have, and live what we do.
Amen.
Thank you. Next, District 1, Commissioner Rich.
I'd just like to echo basically everything that Mr. Buckner and Mr. Venable said. Also keep in mind and keep in prayers all the military across the waters around the world that cannot be home with their loved ones during this Thanksgiving. And also I want to tell the past veterans, thank you for your service, everyone, and they made the United States what it is. Without them, who knows where we'd be. So just keep all that in your thoughts and prayers, and happy Thanksgiving and roll tide.
Thank you, sir. Well, you took all my comments. But I would say for all of us, this Thanksgiving, yeah, with the thanks, but we would wish everybody to have a very safe and a very happy Thanksgiving holiday. One other just note, tomorrow evening, the drug court will celebrate the graduation of a number of their members, and that will be held, I believe, at the First Baptist Church across the street. So if you have an opportunity to join them for that, that would be wonderful. Our next meeting date is December the 13th, 2021. At this time, I'd like to put a motion to move to executive session to discuss potential litigation and the name character. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. So I would like Commissioner Warren,
Stand here.
please stay.